you're here. I'm pleased, I really feel your company. Your style, your smile, your pace mentality. Lord, have mercy on me. I was blind, now I can see what a king's supposed to be.
Excuse me, miss. I was in the waiting room when you gave your testimony. And what I realized is that we have an enemy in common. While you were being called to the office again, I was being put out the only home I've ever known. While you were shaking with anxiety and fear over something no one ever wants to hear, I was shaking in dread. Because we all know what happens to little girls that have no home and no one to claim them. I think our souls passed each other by. See, my soul left me a long time ago in a dingy motel room, ripped away by brutal force. It fled, unable to find its way back home.
Historical people, who would you want in your seat and why?
Wow. I guess because I'm different. You know, I'm not really starstruck. And so it would be hard to really pinpoint anybody in particular. First person that just came to my mind, you know, I mean, if I had an opportunity to cut Denzel, you know, I would.
That's a good one.
I'd do that.
That would be a dope conversation.
Exactly.
How important is diversity in your work, considering you grew up in a bilingual, bicultural home?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very important. I think at this point, just in society, there's just so much diversity. You know, whether it be in language, whether it be in your upbringing, whether it be, you know, whatever that is. And so I think growing up in, you know, a bilingual household as well as really a bicultural, despite the fact that, you know, my parents are you know, both of Hispanic descent, but growing up in two different cultures of, you know, very traditional values in the home and very different, and sometimes similar values, right, outside of the home, but in different ways, right?
Yeah.
And so,
he tests those whom he loves. I pray he continues to love me till my death. I pray he continues testing me and testing me and testing me until I have no questions left. Until I can ingest knowledge and choke on lies and spit out truth with every breath. But you see, until love for what he loves and hate for what he hates is the only thing that's left within my chest. I know that I will constantly fight to love what's right because I was created with a heart that sits slightly to the left. But I'm okay with that. Because I always knew and always know that he knows exactly what is best. You see, he knew that it would only be a matter of time before I would open my eyes and finally realize that I needed to look deep down inside and pull out the divide so that my heart and my mind would collide and learn to work together.
What's going on, my good people, online community, extraordinary family? This is Ordinary Conversations with Extraordinary People. I am your host, Willie Beeman. We are here. This is a long time coming. I'm excited about this interview and learning more about who you are. And as I was studying your bio, I believe this is going to be an interesting story. But without further ado, let's introduce today's guest. She was born in Mexico City and raised in a hardworking, faith-centered family. Grew up in Everman, Texas, where community shaped her passion for service. Currently serves in public relations, supporting district communications. She is also elected member of Everman City Council, Place 6, serving with integrity. She is also a bilingual advocate committed to bringing cultures and strengthening communities. And last but not least, She is a proud wife, mother, and grandmother rooted in faith and family. Online community, in-person family. Let's give a warm welcome to the one and only Miss Miriam Davila.
Hi, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes, it's a pleasure to be here with you today.
Yeah.
I think there are extraordinary, amazing people out there.
I agree.
And by you hosting this is given an opportunity for everybody to tell a story.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important.
Yeah, I totally agree. I always like to kick off the show, Ms. Davila, allowing our guests to kind of, before we get into their professional life, their work life, just allowing our community to get to know our guests on a personal level. So walk us through your childhood, your upbringing. I know you have a big family
Yes.
and growing up in Mexico, and so kind of walk us through that journey.
Yeah, sure. Well, so I am the oldest of five. Yes, and we migrated to the United States in 1980. I was born in 1978, and Mexico City, you know, my parents, they've met each other way back then, and they finally decided, hey, you know, we're of age, let's get married. And they had me over there. And my dad had an opportunity to come over. He had family here by his mother's side, his uncles. And he came down, you know, for a better life. You know, I'm not sure if you've heard that anybody from Mexico says we're going to the norte, you know, because we could, you know, that's the country of opportunity, you know, the country of opportunity. And so my dad came down. He came down for a year. I kept getting sick all the time, according to my mother. She said, Miriam, you kept getting sick, and we didn't know what was wrong. So it ended up being that I missed my dad so much. When he came back, my illnesses went away. So my dad went back after a year. And of course, you know, my mother had another baby, and that's my brother. And my dad said, you know, I don't know how we're going to be able to do this here. You know, it's hardworking, you know, and I don't know, you know, what we're going to be able to do. So.
Wow. Knowing that your parents, you know, they play an instrumental role in your life, as I was studying your bio, and their story began, you know, you mentioned Mexico City. How did their journey shape your values and how you carry those values today? Oh,
it shaped them very deep. I carry those values because, you know, being raised here, but being born in Mexico City, you know, and our culture and our parents' values are so different, you know, into the American way.
Yeah.
And I stayed with a lot of the values that my parents upbring me with, and I think it's very important. I think that the values that we are taught by our parents are very valuable to keep going in tradition. Of course, evolution with time and with, you know, how the world goes. But yeah, they strengthened me. They made me stronger. They made me faithful. They made me know that anything is possible. Anything, you know, you can accomplish anything you want if you put it to your mind, and that's what you do. So
I totally agree. I also saw something in your bio that leading up to your parents getting married, they lived directly across the street from
the street. Yes, when they took us to Mexico City the first time, I was a child, and they said, your grandmother and your grandfather live right here. Grandmother and my mother and my dad live right here. I said, wow, that is amazing, you know, just right across the street. So I have both grandparents right across the street, and we really were able to enjoy them that way.
Wow. We talked upstairs about you having multiple siblings, and you just mentioned being the oldest of five. What was those dynamics like with your siblings growing up?
Well, being the oldest of five, you know, I had a lot of responsibility, you know, or I felt like I carried a lot of responsibility. My parents really never said, oh, you're the oldest, you're going to take care of your siblings. But I knew that I was the oldest. I had to be an example. I had to lead them in the right path, you know, and they looked up to me. They really did. And just being there for my mother and my father and helping them with the language barrier and just really growing up sooner than expected, right? Had to grow up pretty fast. Just really leaned to my siblings being able to know that they have like a second mother. You know, they have like a second mother, and they do. I treasure them. They treasure me. But yes, just being an example, being a leader, and letting them know that, you know I have an older sister that, you know, she will lead the way.
I can agree with that. I'm the oldest of four.
Oh, you are?
Oldest of four siblings, so I can agree with leading from the front and having those leadership qualities and having the ability to pour into them at a young age, and just build those different dynamics. Me, I'm more of a cool, calm, quiet, collective guy. But there's times my wife will tell me that sometimes there are moments where you need to be assertive in your leadership role. And so I definitely couldn't agree with that family dynamic of leading from the front.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
As being females, I think that being a female is a little harder because we feel
Yeah.
like we are that mom, I mean,
It's true.
we are that second mom.
Yeah.
But no, like you said, being the oldest does pour into your siblings, the youngers. And so it just makes us know that we have to be better, right?
Yeah,
Just make
yeah.
better choices and things like that. Because
Yes, because they
you
are
know what?
watching.
We're going to set the example, right? We're going to set the example. So it's a very,
Yeah,
very
yeah. I want to stay there for a moment before we pivot. Were there qualities or characteristics that you learned from your siblings only because you are the oldest, you are leading from the front? So were there things that you learned from them that helped you become the woman that you are?
Yes, actually, I believe there is a lot of things that I did learn from them. Being younger, taught me that I didn't really have to grow up, that fast. I think they held me back a little bit, knowing that, yes, you're still our oldest sister, but, you don't have to be, the responsible one.
Yeah.
We have our parents. It really taught me a lot to know that I also could trust in them and talk to them and know that just because I'm the oldest does not mean that I don't need them like they need me.
Yes,
So
that's so good.
I really do believe that we just poured into each other a lot, and they really kept me, even though I was firm and grown and all that, really kept me having a childhood, right? It's like, we're still a child.
Yeah, we're
So
still children.
that really shaped me a lot in that form because I didn't feel like I did have all that responsibility.
Yeah.
to
I
lead
think
them
that's
that way.
okay. Even though you're the oldest, it's okay to take sound advice from even people who are younger than you as well, because there may be things that they know that you're not familiar with that you can learn and cultivate and grow from. So age is number the number.
No, yes. I have my second brother, the one that was born in Mexico with me over there. I tell him, I said, brother, you're the one with the golden heart. Yes, I'm a servant of God. I'm a servant of our people, a servant of the community. I said, but you are the one that if you only have $1, that is the $1 you're going to give.
Wow.
I said, you are the golden heart. And he says, oh, sister. So when I need something like that, or when I need just some feed of good soul, he's my contact.
Wow, I love it. I love it. Shout out to the siblings. Shout out to the siblings. I want to go back to your parents, knowing that, being born in Mexico City and then having to shift to come to the U.S. I'm pretty sure there was some challenges there. So for you, how did watching your parents navigate a new country influence your understanding of resilience? How did that help you?
Well, it influenced a lot because my parents remained very, very strong in their belief when they came down to the United States that they were going to provide us a better life. And the resilience to that, with all the obstacles, they maintained themselves strong and faithful. And I saw that, and I felt like you can be strong. You can be strong. You can accomplish and you can overcome any obstacle if you just remain true to yourself and what your goal is, what you came to do, and just keep working really hard and fighting for it. So it just made me realize that whatever I want is going to take work. And and if I want it, and I'm going to have to put the effort in it, and I'm going to have to work for it, and I'm going to have to be strong, and I'm going to have to be able to overcome the obstacle. If I trip, I'll get back up.
Of course.
And so that's exactly what they taught me, and I'm very blessed. I think that I followed their steps, and they were not educated people. They didn't make it to maybe elementary school.
Wow.
And just their resilience here taught me that I could be resilient no matter what because they made it. You know.
Wow.
So if they made it, I know I could make it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's always good to have people that we can watch from afar from. Even for me, grandparents, my mother, my father, especially my mother. Shout out to Brenda Strickland, who was. I'm
sorry.
Who was just resilient and hardworking, and she's the only woman in regards to some of the males in our family, some of my uncles, and so watching her resilience, watching her move forward and her hard work, I kind of had some of those qualities as well. So.
Yes. My father was the sole provider of our family. My mother didn't have, she didn't work at that time. She had 5 children within 5 years here in the United States. And my father always told her, if you find you a job, you're going to be paying daycare. Your check is going all to your taking care of your children. It would be nice for you to just stay home and take care of the children. And so they always made it work, even just with one income. But my father worked really hard. And my mother, very smart. She knew how to save money. She knew how to sacrifice. So it really helped along the way for us to be able to, start having and doing and be able to learn and go meet places, because my mother was able to know how to budget,
Yeah. That's important. So do you remember, I guess, your initial reaction from the transition of leaving Mexico City to the U.S.? Do you remember your reaction? Was it a culture shock?
Actually, I don't remember, because I was going to be 3 years old. So I don't remember far back then what my, how I reacted or anything. But I do remember when I started the school. Yeah. That's probably where the culture shock, the whole reality hit.
Yeah.
Because then you start knowing something different, not what you are growing up with and being at home and being cultured and, protected by your parents. It's when you're out there now.
Yes.
So I think that's when I start recalling exactly how I lived starting school.
Yeah. Gotcha. I want to go back to what kind of pivot to you, getting into the education system, being in school here in Everman, Texas. What challenges did you face as a Spanish-speaking student entering an English-speaking school system? What were those barriers? How did you overcome that?
That was pretty hard. Didn't understand not one thing. Not one thing. But, I started at Hummel Elementary, and we lived in the Hummel side of Hummel. So it was Holly Street. And Hummel has always been known like bilingual, a lot of bilingual teachers. Well, Ms. Rodriguez was my first teacher. So the good thing is she spoke Spanish.
Wow.
She spoke Spanish. And just going to school, going into something new as a child, anybody, whether here in Mexico or just coming from a different country, you're barely starting school. So you're leaving home. It's already something new, right? So I already knew that it was something new, and it was something that I had to do, that this was going to be my life.
Yeah.
So, going into school was going to have to learn how to speak English and, progress from there.
True.
So even though it was hard, Ms. Rodriguez really made it a little easier, because she could understand, she could communicate, and she could say, even though you're learning English, we have to learn this in English, but if you don't understand, please talk to me in Spanish. And so it really helped. But I'm a fast learner. So I do have to say thank you, God, for that.
Yeah.
I'm a fast learner. I think that I picked it up really quick. And, when you're little, you kind of are able to pick up quicker than when you're older. And so I did. And the accent wasn't really there up until 3rd grade.
Wow.
It's like I was already speaking English. And I just learned really quick. It just became my language in school and in Spanish at home. So I was so fluent. I was like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I can speak English and I speak Spanish.
Wow.
Everybody was very amazed. So it was just something that just came naturally, and I was just able to learn it.
Wow. I guess, speaking to Miss Rodriguez, how much of an impact did she have on you getting through these challenges, knowing that you are a Spanish-speaking student, trying to learn English, trying to navigate with other students, teachers, faculty? How much of an impact did Miss Rodriguez help in helping you be fluent?
She definitely helped me understand, being around children, being around other staff members. She helped me realize that we're here to learn, we're here to receive an education. She was there all the way. The whole year she was there all the way. She guided me. She taught me things. She would take time after school to say, look, this is who this person is. Why do you need to come and talk to her? Because this person's going to give you the, extra help, extra materials that you will need. And so she was just there really guiding me. I think she kind of thought and knew that I was kind of lost, but she was just there all the way. Her firmness and her way of teaching made everybody feel so comfortable, so comfortable. And I don't think that there was many non-English speaking students, so she was able to give more on that one-on-one with me. But then I'm a resilience person, so I always ask, well, why? And so my whys were always so like, Miriam, I already told you, but it wasn't enough for me. You know, it wasn't enough. So I just feel that just kind of led for me to learn faster.
Yeah, that was a hunger there.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was that hunger. And that's why by third grade, I was like, I was in ESL
Wow.
and they taught me, you know, they helped us with the extra work.
What?
It was all English. Ms. McDonald didn't know how to speak Spanish, but something about Ms. McDonald just helping us pronounce and write and read. And she said, by the time you're in fifth grade, you're exiting ESL. You're doing so wonderful. So I already knew then that my hunger for the language and my hunger to be established here was already here because this was my country.
Yeah.
This was me now.
Wow.
You know, so it really took a toll on me like that.
Wow. Wow. What did that do for you mentally and emotionally, knowing that you are a fast learner, Ms. Rodriguez taking the time to go the extra mile to put you in places and spaces to meet people? Okay, this is why you need to talk to this person.
Yes.
This is why this person is important. What did that do for you mentally?
Mentally, it prepared me to a whole new world. You know, it prepared me. I was able to talk. I was able not to be timid, not to be shy. I was able to do what I had to do, because I think that if you're not mentally prepared, you're timid, you're shy, you're afraid, you're scared. You're scared that they're not going to be there for you. But I knew that if Ms. Rodriguez was there for me, these people were going to be there for me, and I was not holding back.
Wow.
Emotionally, I think it just made me just passionate, but more than anything, just really be stable.
Stability.
Stability.
I like
Emotional stability.
Emotional stability.
Because you have your parents in a new country that don't speak the language. You have your siblings, which they're little, but you know you have to help out. And then you yourself have to take care of yourself. So
at the same
emotionally,
time.
I had stability. If not, I'd be lost.
Yeah. Wow. Well said.
At a young age, right?
Yeah.
Stability? Wow.
Yeah.
But it all starts at a young age.
It does.
Your emotions start at a very young age, and you have to know how to control them. So I think that really helped a lot.
Yep. Train up a child in the way they should go. They want to go there, they won't depart.
Yes.
So, you're absolutely right. I want to stay there, sharing earlier in your introduction, you having being an advocate for being bilingual. At what moment did you begin to see that bilingualism as a strength rather than a challenge? When did you notice that, okay, this is something that I can really utilize in my community?
Oh, yes. From the moment that I had to do my father's application. He needed to apply for something, and he brought home the application and said, I don't know how to fill this application out. I said, okay, Dad, let me look at it. Probably at that point I was in fourth grade. So a fourth grader looking at an application, you're looking like, what is all this? You know, but of course, an application, you know, name, last name, your information, where do you live, and just being able to tell my parents this is what it means, this is what it says. And then I already knew then that I was going to have to serve others with that barrier.
With that, yes.
You know, and then my parents had friends, and because I caught on so fast, oh, well, Miriam can help you. Oh, well, Miriam can you know, bring it over and she can help you. And since fourth grade and on, I already knew that I was going to be able to help anybody with a language barrier, especially in Spanish, because that was my strength.
Yes.
And doing it for my parents opened the door for me to do it for anybody that had that barrier. So at that point, I already knew that being bilingual, knowing Spanish, knowing English very well, was a big benefit to me, and I was not going to let it go. At that time, I didn't know how to read. I was learning how to read because I didn't go to school in Spanish. So you learn the language. You know your language because that's what you speak.
Right.
But that doesn't mean you know how to read it. And it doesn't mean you know how to write it. But I was so interested in, like you said, that hunger.
That hunger and desire.
That hunger. Because if I was going to learn English and I was going to know how to read and write, why was I not going to know Spanish, read, and write?
Wow.
So my mom had these little soap opera books, and they're called novelas in Spanish. And there's a lot of people that are familiar with those.
Yeah.
But little soap opera books. And I remember getting those and saying, oh, well, let me try to read it. And little by little, I just started reading and just learning it on my own, pronouncing it, and then writing it. And the next thing you knew, I knew how to write and read.
Wow.
I knew how to write and read. Now, grammar and all that, yes, you know, the accents, it's very different when you speak than when you write. You have to know the accent. And when you speak it, you have to know where the accent is, because some of the words, how you speak, the accent comes. That was pretty hard.
Yeah.
Because that was a side of Spanish that I did not know, that I learned on my own, but nobody taught me. Like with English, I was taught.
You was taught. Yeah.
I was taught. So that hunger just kept me going. And then as I grew older, just referencing back, oh, this is how you say this word. This is where the accent goes. This is how you write it this way.
Yeah.
I was able to learn it that way.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yes.
Knowing that you have been in multiple seats, worn many hats in your career in public service, how has that now been a benefit now, knowing that you are, Everman City Council member, place 6, and I saw that you worked as a coach, just
Yes.
done many different
Yes.
things. How has that benefit of being bilingual enhanced now?
Oh, a lot. We don't really understand how much it's needed, but it is so needed. Being on council, there's a lot of people that don't understand, but they have me that I advocate for them. You want to know something, come to me.
Yes.
I'll explain it to you. We can talk about it. And they'll understand it because it's in their language, because they're identifying themselves with you.
Yes.
I think that we found so much identification being in those roles, and it's benefited me, the community, the district, and everybody involved.
Yeah.
Because now they have an identification and they know that there is somebody out there.
Yes.
In the school row, parents calling, not, knowing the language. Somebody on the phone is speaking Spanish to them. Very important. And that was my pride, that I knew it, and I knew that I could do that.
Wow.
So I serve everybody in that role. To me, being the bilingual, having that strength, is that I am available and I have the ability,
Wow.
and that I want to put myself out there, and people know to come to me, and people will come to me, and it makes me so proudful for them to know that I am there, and that's my purpose.
Yeah.
My purpose is there is no obstacle here. There is no barrier.
There's no barrier.
Here,
Yeah.
because there is always that one person that will break the barrier for you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. Well said. Now you have basically become the source for people who struggle, with language
Yes.
and language barriers. So that's amazing. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
Ms.
Thank
Davila,
you.
keep going.
Thank
I want to shift to more of your career. Like I said, you've worn many hats. Your career began in healthcare as an interpreter. What drew you to helping patients in that way? How did that dynamic work?
Oh, it worked wonderful, because when we talk about medical bilingual, you can be bilingual, but when it comes to medical bilingual, it's very different. The wording is different. The way you speak is different, because you're talking medical terminology now.
That's true.
So when you speak Spanish, but you don't work in those fields, you don't know the medical terminology, so you don't know how to translate that or how to interpret that correctly. So it opened another door for me on a different level of translating and interpreting, because I had to learn the medical terminology. So the way it just impacted me was just knowing all the medical terminology, being able to transmit it to those patients that did not understand. That if they told them, we're going to remove your gallbladder, they were thinking they were going to remove their bladder, because the medical terminology, right, for the gallbladder is different for the bladder. And they did not know, and they were thinking, well, I'm going to have a gallbladder removed. No, you're not going to have a gallbladder removed. You're going to have a bladder remove or something. And they'd be like, well, I didn't understand that, because whoever translated or interpreted did not understand how to translate it to them. So being able to just communicate correctly with them, letting them know what their procedures were being, and for them to get a clear understanding of what part of the body was that they were going, it was amazing to me, because then they were able to understand. And we were able to communicate in medical terminology.
Wow. Who were those? We're really big on, a lot of guests I've had on the show recently, big on mentorship and having coaches and mentors in their life that have helped carry them through their field of work. Who were those mentors for you, knowing that another door is open, medical terminology as a challenge? Who are those people in your corner helping you with training and coaching and getting through that?
Oh, I would have to say wonderful staff in JPS. I ever said that if I ever became a doctor or a nurse, or even went back to the medical field, I would go right back to JPS. JPS groomed me. They taught me, the doctors there. I worked for OBGYN, for the OBGYN clinic, and then I worked for the OBGYN oncology part of it, the women, cancer, uterus, stuff like that. And there was this nurse practitioner. She wasn't a doctor, she was a nurse practitioner. Her name was Leah. And she taught me everything, because she said, I want this patient to understand. So I want you to understand. So they needed to make sure that I understood and I knew what we were dealing with and what we were talking about, so that this patient could receive that information correctly. So they groomed me, they taught me, they were there, they explained to me one by one, they were there, the doctors were there. and they just taught me. I think that just being taught open the door
Open
already.
the door.
You know,
Yeah.
just open the door already.
Yeah.
So I do have to give a shout out to JPS, to all the staff that was there, because they made an impact in my life. I wasn't going to go to school.
Wow.
Then the friend that I met there that was a coworker for me, she said, hey, and her name was Valita. I really miss her. It's been a long time. She said, Miriam, do you want to go and do a medical assistant program with me? I said, what is that? She said, well, what I do. Well, she wasn't like a certified medical assistant, but she was already helping the doctors. I was more the interpreter. She was more vitals. And I said, sure. She said, you want to learn that? I said, let's go.
Mm.
And that's why I feel like it opened the door for opportunity, because I feel like now I'm getting hungry for this now, you know?
Yeah.
Now I want to learn this because now I know that I can.
Yeah.
And so she persuaded me and we went, and I ended up staying, and she did not. I said, you know what? This is the Lord.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, when the Lord wants you to do something, He will always find a way.
Yes.
And He put
will.
Valita in my way. So, yeah, I give back to JPS, and I would go back and definitely give back to JPS what I received from JPS, which was a door to something that I did not know that I was going to fall in love with.
Wow. 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 Well said. It speaks to, I think it's important to have people in our corner that can pour into us, that can mentor us, that can coach us, and put us in positions to win.
Yes.
And help those. Even here working at the library, it's about to be 2 years. It went so fast. People that I've seen come through these doors, and even the staff, you know, that we have here, man. Such a great team, you know.
Yes.
It's only 5 of us, but I'm perfect. We do big things.
Yes.
And, you know, 3 years in a row, got the Achievement of Excellence Award
I've
again.
seen.
So we'll be celebrating that soon. And so it definitely has been a blessing working with such amazing people from all walks of life coming together and making it happen. I almost see it as the melting pot.
Yes.
All of us coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, but seeing, okay, the skill sets that you have, how can we put those to use and bring things together?
Yes. You know, I had to go back and reference on this. You know, I had other coworkers. And there's going to be those coworkers that are like, oh, yeah, you can't do this. You know, this is what I do, but you can't do this.
Yeah.
But you will encounter those coworkers. Like you said, they want to see you grow, and they're going to coach you, and they're going to mentor you, and they're going to teach you.
Yes.
And I did have some of those coworkers
Yes.
too. And they make you believe that you can do exactly the same thing they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you do. But then they don't hold back, because what they want you to do is to be as good as them.
It's them. Yeah.
And so I took that from that beginning to say, that is who I'm going to be, because I'm going to be a mentor as well. I am going to teach everything that I know to whoever's coming next. Because if you can be better than me, then that means I've done a great job. You know? So I've always definitely agreed. And teams are what makes the dream. You know? It's not just a one solo person, you know? No. It's not a me thing. It's about the team. And when you have a great team, you're successful and you move forward.
Yeah.
You know? And when not, you know, doors closed, and that's why you move on. You know, you move on. Doors closed for a reason.
I agree with that.
I just think that the experiences, you take them. Opportunities, you take
them. Yeah.
You know? And then when it's time for you to leap on into something new, you take that.
You take them. Yeah.
You take it.
As a phrase that I've heard quite some time, that experience is the best teacher.
Definitely.
The certain experiences that we go through in our field of work or business or whatever it is, it gives us the ability to be in these spaces because we've been coached through them, we've been mentored through them, we gained experience. Yes. And so I believe it's not good for us to hold information back.
Definitely
it's better for us to release that.
Yes, yes, because it just makes you greater.
Yeah.
It just makes you a greater person.
Yeah, yeah. As I was studying your bio, there's a lot of different people in your bio that you talked about that were very vital to your life and your growth. What life lessons did you gain from working alongside Dr. Virginia Farrar?
Oh my goodness, Dr. Virginia Farrar. She was an amazing doctor. When I met her, I did my internship there. You know, when you study medical assisting or any trade school, you do an internship. It does not mean you're going to get hired right away, but you do the internship.
Yeah.
I did my internship, and she didn't have a position for me. I said, okay, that's fine. You know, I'm getting married. It's okay. You know, it's not meant for me right now. So I said, you know, but as long as I did my internship, I finished my certification, I'm good. But I made an impact on her because she reached out to me, you know, years later. But when she reached out to me, we had a conversation. And she said, I just want to let you know, I became a doctor at 40 years of age.
Wow.
I said, Dr. Farrar? And I can tell you something, she never spoke of her age. So she's no longer with us, but I never knew how old she was.
Wow.
Never knew. But when she said she became a doctor at 40, I always wanted to think back, okay, well, she became a doctor at 40 and she's this age. But I could never tell you what age she was.
Yeah.
But she was such a wonderful doctor. Called me in and said, I would like for you to come work part-time. I think you have what we're looking for. You're bilingual and you did a wonderful internship. At that time, I didn't have a position for you, but I have one now.
Wow.
I said, you know what? I'm interested. Talked to my husband about it after being home 3 years. He said, you know what? If that's what you want to do, I support you. Go ahead and do it. That's what you went to school for. And so I said, that's easy. And I said, that was that easy? He said, I'm not going to hold you back. I know you went to school for something and I want you to be able
That's
to,
awesome.
do what you need to do.
Yes.
So he was very supportive at that point.
Yeah.
We're not going to go back, but at that,
At that point.
Yes, at that point. So I started working for Dr. Farrar, and she impacted my life because she was OBGYN too. She delivered obstetrician. She was delivering babies as well. And she only had LVN, a medical assistant, her front office. So she had a very, very small staff.
Yeah.
But she trusted her staff, and she knew she could run out and go deliver a baby, and her patients and everybody there was going to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So she taught us, she groomed us. She said, this is how I like things to be done. This is what you need to look for. This is how you go to this book and you find something here.
Yeah.
Patient talks to you about something, you want to learn it, come to my office. I have my medical book here. And so she just gave us that opportunity just to learn alongside her.
Yeah.
She would teach us procedures. I got a chance to see my first circumcision there with her because she's circumcised there at her office.
Wow.
And I said, this is a baby getting circumcised. This was my son when he got circumcised. Oh my goodness. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It was so amazing just to see that and for her to allow me to be a part of that, to even see the process, to even see the way it was handled.
Yeah.
And so that's how she impacted my life. She taught me so many things. I felt like now you need an ingrown toenail removed. Come see me, I watched that. I know that. I have experience. So yeah, just a lot of things that I learned that I know that I can put in practice now because I learned it because she taught it, you know? So that's how I knew that I wanted to be a doctor one day.
Wow. We have to realize that no matter what stage of life we're in, no matter the age, that we will be forever learning.
Yes.
We should be forever learning, always growing, always studying, always exploring. So for Dr. Farrar to take the time to pour into you, that says a lot about her and her character and integrity, because she wants to see you grow.
Yes.
Like you mentioned earlier, if I can help you become better than me, then I've done my job.
Yes. We had one of our LVNs there.
Yeah.
Dr. Farrar helped her so much. She became a registered nurse. She became a registered nurse. Dr. Farrar was alongside of her. She said, I'm going to help you study. I'm going to help you learn. And she was there. And she opened the door to all of us. Anybody want that? I am right here.
Wow.
So just the opportunity, the opportunity. And because she was willing to be there and help you and give you that of her.
Yeah.
So that's what made her the best person in the world. Well, one of the ones that
One of the
impacted my
ones.
life. Yes.
You have many.
Yes.
Ms. Davila, I want to shift for a minute, go back to more of your educational background. What inspired you to begin working for Everman ISD? What was that story like?
So I, growing up and being an Everman, graduating from Everman, just the staff that we had before, my teachers, the principals that I met, I always said, oh, if I could work with them, we would get along so well because they were so nice to me and they liked me, right?
Yeah.
So I thought if I ever worked for Everman, I know that I already connect with people. I already know people that will say, yes, you can come work for Everman. But really what encouraged me to work more for Everman is, when you have a family and you have your children, you want to spend more time with them, at home. And I call this a real job, but not a real job. A real job, you get 2 weeks vacation, that's it, your holidays. But with the districts, if you're in a receptionist position and another lower level position, you have your summers off, and all the other holidays that come in. And so what I needed was summers off because, my kids were going, I wanted to take them to water parks. I wanted to do all these wonderful things with them. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go into the school district because they're going to give me what I need, right? I need time with my family.
Yes.
You know, I need time with my family, time to spend with my children before they grow up, and I don't get to do these things. So even though I sacrificed something I really, really enjoyed and loved, the passion for the medical field,
Right.
you know, I said, you know, it's time for me to shift because I'm a family person.
I noticed that about
I
you,
am a very family
family-oriented.
person.
Yeah.
And I knew that what my mother gave us, not working and being at home, is something that I still wanted to give to my children. And so being in the district has opened that door for me, for me to be able to be more time with my children. And then for me to give back to Everman.
Yeah.
For me to be that person that could impact like other staff people and impacted mine as I was growing up and going to the school, going through the school system.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's all about paying it forward.
Paying it forward.
You know, you being a resident of this Everman community, majority of your life, I think it's always good to go back and never forget where you come from.
Never forget.
Never forget those who poured into you to help you alongside your journey. So I think that's amazing.
Yes.
Staying in this vein, I believe you were a part-time teacher.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I was a part-time assistant teacher. We were able to do part-time. My sister decided to go teach because she started as an assistant as well. But my sister always knew she wanted to be a teacher. And she was little and she wore glasses. So I don't know this thing about when somebody wears glasses, they think they're automatically going to be a teacher. But that's what they always call her. They would call her Maestra Yasmin. And my sister just knew she was going to be a teacher. So working for the school district again, giving back the way I did, she chose to go to teaching. So she needed to have somebody cover for her part. And they allowed me to do that for her.
Wow.
So we were helping each other out. She got her teaching degree and I was able to get back into the school system and work with them and then be able to grow forward doing that. So being a teacher assistant just opened more doors. The kids would tell me, you don't want to be a teacher? No, I don't want to be a teacher. No, I care too much. You know, I'm like, no, I care too much. I can't be a teacher. But still now they call me, a lot of parents, a lot of students, Maestra Davila, Maestra Davila. And I'm like, no, I was not the teacher. It was the other sister, but you know who I am. Yeah. Still impacted their life. They called me Maestra and I wasn't the teacher, but you know, that's what they saw me like. Yeah.
I know that just speaks to you as a person. It speaks to your character and your integrity and building long-lasting, healthy relationships. When people can remember you for what you've done and how you make them feel, I think that's a great thing. Never forget the things that you've done to pour into them. Yes. I think that's amazing. You interacted with parents and students on a daily, you know, working in this school district.
Yes.
What have those conversations taught you about community needs, knowing that you are in this role now as Councilwoman Place 6? What has working in the school district taught you now?
Yes, working in the school district and meeting parents and students because they're not out here meeting community, servants. They're not out here talking to community servants. Who do we go talk to? But when they know you there and they know who you serve and what you serve, then they start asking you, they start wanting to know. And then I'm able to give them that information. You know, I'm able to help them. I'm able to say who to go find this resources from. You're having this situation, this is who you contact. Being able to give them the resources is my main priority. Yeah. And just getting to know the parents and the students, but the more the parents, that they feel that they can talk to you. Yeah. And they can talk to you just not school related, but also city because they know that you're affiliated with them.
Yes.
It's just something good to give to them because you can give them the resources. Our community, our people, they want resources.
Yes,
And without resources, they don't know what to do.
They don't know, yes.
So we need to provide resources, and they know that I can provide resources. We know who I'm going to direct them to. Yeah. You know, you have this issue, I can direct you to who you're going to speak to. So just being able to partner that way with this district, with their student roles, how they're doing in school, with their concerns and their questions, that I'm able to give them resources through the district. Yeah. That also they talk to me about city and community issues that they may be having on their block, on the roads, on their streets, and then you know that they can talk to me, and then I can give them a response. Yeah. It's already, I feel like, they got the best of everything, you know? Yeah. You're there, one source.
One source.
You know, just one source. One stop, one source. You have what you need.
Yeah.
And if I don't, I will never say I can't give you an answer. We will find out the answer.
Yes.
Contact me and I will have it for you. So I think that's very important.
Yeah.
You never leave anybody not knowing. You always say, I will get back with you. I will provide you with what you need.
I love that. Yeah, especially you growing up in the city,
Yes.
being on city council. I think it's very important to make yourself available.
Yes.
A lot of people who have positions or leadership positions, don't make themselves available to the community. And so for you, I think that speaks a lot about how you're creating these safe spaces for people to come to you
Yes.
and be genuine and meet their needs, whether it's, something in the city, whether it's personal,
Yes.
whether it's their child in school, whatever the situation may be. I think it's so important you making yourself available
Yes.
to these families.
Yes. I think people look for people that are available.
Yeah.
You don't find a lot of people available. But when you serve in the right roles and you're serving for the right purposes, you will always be available.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Availability is the best ability.
Yes. Yes. They will tell you you're always busy and always doing everything else, but let me tell you, you wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Being in this role now, what are some initiatives or some things you're looking forward to see in regards to the city of Everman being a councilwoman? What are some things that you're excited to see coming to fruition?
Oh, there's a lot of good things coming to Everman. It's all about patience.
Yes.
It's all about patience.
Yeah.
When I started city council back in 2013, all my billboard thing and my signs, it said ready to make change. Oh boy, did I regret putting ready to make change, because it's not that way. We really think, oh, we're going to serve a board, we're going to serve on some committee that's going to make big changes, and you're going to make change right away. It was not that way. You don't make change right away. It's not about making change right away, because things don't change right away. It's about learning how things work.
Yeah.
What we're dealing with first, right? And why things haven't changed. You have to know that first.
You got to know that first.
When you don't know that, you're ready to make a change. I'm ready to make a change. We're going to fix all the potholes in the street. You know what I mean? But when you know what's really behind it, you realize you can definitely make change. You can, but it's not just going to happen from one day to the next, or within a year you've made change. You can make changes, and the changes will come little by little. There'll be changes that are not impactful, and people don't see those changes because they're not impactful. They'll see the big changes because, oh, it already impacted, the street got fixed.
Yeah.
People will notice that right away. But something behind that needed to be fixed, they will not know because it wasn't impactful. So I think that the changes do occur, and you make change from the very beginning, but some changes are noticeable and some changes are not. And then you learn how to deal with it, and you learn how to be patient. You learn how you're going to serve, and you're serving, and you're still making change, but those changes will take time to be noticed. And when you're doing that way, you realize that every little step of the way, anything that you do is already being impactful, whether it's seen or not seen. And that's why I'm still giving it back, because I've seen it. I've seen it myself. And the good things that I'm looking forward to is the things that we've already accomplished within the years that I've been there. Our new civic center, our upgraded civic center.
I've been there. It's nice facility.
Our park being upgraded. I'm so sad that we don't have our walking trail. Hopefully soon we're going to have our walking trail. We're working very hard for our walking trail. We need that for our community. We need that. Just new things, new ideas that are being brought in, things that are already in place. New machinery to cover our potholes, of course. Things that were needed that we're able to get now. Budget, everything. People need to understand. It's not that we don't want to. Oh, we want to fix every road that we have, but it costs money. It costs money. So little by little, we find resources, grants, things that we can get, having good people in place, having an awesome city manager looking out for our community, our mayor, our council people that are looking out for the same goals, the same necessities, it's going to take us there. And we're getting there. It's taking time, but we're getting there. And it's already impactful to me. I
love it. Going back to what you mentioned earlier, we said it throughout the show that, teamwork, makes the dream work. There's no I in team. And so knowing that you are councilwoman, how has it been working alongside people like Mayor Ray Richardson and City Manager Craig Spencer? What are those relationships look like?
Relationship is great. Their knowledge and experience is amazing. If you were to ask me, would I run for mayor? I would tell you I'm not ready. big shoes to fill.
Yes.
You know, big shoes to fill. Lots of work, lots of dedication, lots of dedication. I've been one of those people all my life that if you can't give 100%, don't get involved. Don't get involved.
Hope y'all.
You know, don't get involved. 75, 80% doesn't cut it.
Yeah.
It doesn't cut it. You have to be all in.
All in.
You know? And going by that, our district is all in. So, so all in. And it is all in. It is all in. When you're going to do something, you have to go all in. It's going to take time away from home, dedication, sacrifices.
Sacrifice, yeah.
It's going to take all of that. But when you know that's where you belong, you're going to give all of that. So I think it's very important that you have to be all in. You have to give 100% in anything that you do. And that is the commitment that we all have, you know, and city manager, the mayor, that I've what they teach us, what they go and learn and they bring back to us,
the table,
you know, is very important. We learn from them, and it will start preparing us if we ever want to have a different role in our life.
Yeah.
Because you're learning. They're sharing the experiences. You're learning what is really going on. And then you learn how to read budget. At first, when I was budget, I was clueless with budget.
Yeah.
So many accounts, so many, you know, items coming out. I was like, what? I don't understand. But as we go over budget every year, we plan for our new budget and everything, I start understanding.
Yes. Yeah.
Now it makes sense to me. So I think it's just a growing and a learning process. And then you have the right people that are sharing those experiences and sharing their knowledge.
Yes.
And when you have knowledgeable people,
yes,
you definitely gain it all.
Yeah.
You gain it all. You learn it.
I totally agree. I go by this quote that says, knowledge is information, but wisdom is application.
Yes.
Knowledge is, okay, I've gained this information. I've been trained. I've been coached. Wisdom is, okay, how do I apply what I just received? How do I put that in to everyday practice? And so, I'm grateful, man, that you guys have a great team. Shout out to City Manager Craig Spencer, Mayor Ray Richardson. Such a great man that I had the pleasure to sit down with and get to know as well.
Yes.
Yeah, great team.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go back to you. I think I saw in your bio that somebody who was on City Council back in 2007 pitched you the opportunity to get to run for being a part of the City Council, and you denied it.
Yes.
You turned it down, and then years later, 2013, opportunity presents itself again, and then you take that role. How did that preparation period shape your leadership mindset, knowing that, okay, it was presented to me in 2007, you knowing in yourself, like, I'm not ready, let me get prepared, and then it comes back around again.
Yes.
What was that preparation?
Well, you know, I had to prepare. When I saw the opportunity, but I was not ready, I knew I wasn't ready. So I was not going to take it because I was not ready. I was not prepared. So I said, if this opportunity comes again, I do have to be prepared because I do want this responsibility. I do want to be a part of. So I did start preparing. The person that offered me to come and take her spot, she was going to resign.
Right.
She ended up resigning to go to the school district board. And she said, but I'm going to coach you and I'll teach you. I said, but I'm not ready. I said, but you know what you can do? Even though you resign and I'm not ready to join, I still want to learn from you. I still want to learn. I want you to teach me what it is being in those seats, in one of those seats.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to take your seat, what is it that you can teach me that has had you on council for so long? I said, so if you can teach me this, I think one day I can be ready. But I need you to be there and tell me what I'm looking at. What I'm looking at, what it is to serve a community. And she was there.
Wow.
That person did not let go of me because she believed that I was the person that was supposed to be sitting in one of those seats.
Wow.
So shout out to Ms. Garza.
Shout out.
Yes.
Shout out.
She just really motivated me. She saw something in me that said, Miriam, the community needs you.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I just need you to teach me how the community needs me, how I can serve them so I can do it.
Yeah.
And once the time came around, I didn't know it was going to come around. When the time came around, I said, you know what? I'm ready because this person believed in me. She knew that I was ready. She knew my community needed me. And I said, and she taught me how it was, what I needed to do when I became that person. And I said, I can do it now.
Yeah.
And the time came and I felt ready.
Yeah.
And she helped me prepare for it. So
Wow.
I was ready then. And I was all in. I was said, now I can do 100% because now I know that I'm definitely ready.
Yeah. 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 I think that speaks to your character and your willingness to say, okay, even though this opportunity has presented itself, I need to make sure that I'm well prepared for this and not go into a position or a role prematurely,
Yes.
too early or too soon. And so, as another quote that I go by, that preparation comes before demonstration.
Yes. Yes.
Preparation, the learning from those who are in those seats. So when opportunity does present itself, again, you're ready.
Yes.
You're not jumping the gun too soon.
Yes. I think, titles and positions like that are very attracting.
Yeah.
Anybody would say, yes, I want it. But no, I think you always have to be sure that you're prepared for
Yes.
it. You have to be prepared for it. Titles and all of that mean a lot, but if you're not ready for it, you can have the title, but your execution is not going to be 100%.
Yeah.
It's not going to be with that satisfaction, nor with the community satisfaction of having you sit in that place. So that's why I believe you have to be ready. You have to know that you're ready to do that because you're willing to do everything that it takes.
That it comes with it.
That it comes with it, right? And going back to that, you're not going to please everybody either.
Yes.
You're not going to please everybody. And things can be personal to you when you sit on those seats, right? But then you have to learn that it's not personal.
Yeah.
It's not just about the one person anymore either, because you're serving
a whole community. Yeah.
You're serving a whole community. You're not serving yourself. A lot of people will want that title. I want to serve myself. What benefit do I get from this?
Yeah.
There's no benefit.
Yeah. There's no
benefit. You go in doing anything that you do with no benefit. There's no benefit. The only satisfaction is what you see, the change and what you can offer to other people. When you make those people happy, when you impact those people's life, it's the only satisfaction you're going to get from being in a role or in a title or any position.
Yeah.
It's how you impacted them, not how they impacted you.
That's good. I want to say there, if you could define servant leadership in your own personal walk, how would you define servant leadership for yourself?
For myself, boy, I've never served myself. I've always served others. I have something about serving others before you serve yourself.
Yeah.
I love myself, and I already know that. And when you love yourself that deep and you have an understanding of who you are,
yeah,
I can tell you it's not about serving yourself. It's always about serving others.
I love it.
It's about serving others.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Going back to you being on City Council, how do you stay connected to everyday concerns of Everman residents, knowing that you grew up here, you and your family grew up here, you worked on Everman ISD, and now, City Council member? How do you stay connected with the concerns of residents that live here?
I've put myself out there for people to reach out, and stuff like that. And they know where to find me. They know who I am, so they can reach out. I try to encourage them to come to our meetings. I try to encourage them to, be a part of, learn. If you don't go to our council meetings, you're not going to know really what's going on. You need to come. We're going to be so transparent with everything. You want to know something, it's going to be said right there. You have a question, sign up and speak in front of us. We're not going to hold anything back to you. We're transparent. We want you to see that we're here for you. So I think that people just really need to know that we're there, but then for them to really feel comfortable to come and talk to you.
Yes.
And you have limited people that, even though you serve, because they don't see the immediate changes.
Yes, that's true.
They feel like, what's the point? Or why am I even going to talk to you if you're not going to fix this pothole? I read to a class on Friday for Black History Month at Townley, and one of the children said, Miss Davila, well, why do we have ugly streets? I said, oh, you mean like potholes here and there?
Wow, not
and
the
they're
kid.
like, yeah, a kid.
Jeez.
And I said, well, because it happens, we have big truckers coming through. It happens, streets are old. It happens. Yeah, but my mom said, I said, yes. It's going to ruin my car. I said, yes. And I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. We have to know our city limits. We have to know what streets belong to our city. You have to know why things like that do happen. And I'm glad that you asked, you know, because if you don't ask, you're not going to know. But I can tell you, being on council, yes, we do have these potholes. Our streets are old. It costs a lot of money to repair one street.
Yeah.
I said, you know, and giving an explanation to a child, you have to be very easy understanding. So you got to kind of tell them exactly, you know, there's no funds for fixing a full street.
Right.
Costs a lot of money. I said, but we do try to cover those potholes. Very important. We don't want your tire to go flat or anything.
Exactly.
And then he's like, oh, okay, but you're doing something about it. I said, yes, we're doing something about it. We want to make sure we do something about it. That's the main reason why we do this, because we want to make sure we're doing something about it.
Yeah.
I said, so yes, we do try to make sure that we're doing something about it. And then it's also good to know that we're not just going to sit there and we want these potholes to be there. And the child said, oh, thank you. That helped. I'm going to tell my mom. So it was really interesting,
wow,
because you have a first-year-old, a first grader, you know, that's the class that I read, and they already know these things,
they're aware.
So now I know that our parents, you know, our community are watching out for those potholes, because we do have the potholes. But we make sure, you know, we have this app, and even I myself will get down and take pictures. Okay, we got this pothole. Oh, good. You know, and driving around our community, that's one thing I like to do. Our community is small. Our city is small.
Yeah.
So I can drive all around Everman, all in Everman, and know the streets, because I grew up in Everman.
Exactly.
So I know the streets, and I go and I like to drive them myself. When we have bad rain and stuff, I like to drive myself to see.
Yeah.
Because that way when our community members come and ask questions, I know what we're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly what's going on.
I know what we're talking about. I'm not just going to sit there and, no, we don't have this going on. Yes, we do. I've seen it myself.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen it myself.
Wow.
You know, I'm not going to hide it from you. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You know, I've been there. You know, I also hit a pothole. You know what I mean? So it's just being transparent.
Yes.
You know, just being transparent and making sure that they know that we are trying to do our best. You know, and with the resources that we have.
Yeah.
You know, money wise, machinery wise, all that stuff. That our city is trying to make things better for our community always.
Yeah, and you said something earlier, when certain Everman residents don't see immediate change, you know, they're like, okay, was anything getting done? Where's the progression? But you letting them know by you being transparent, like, we are working towards these things. And you said earlier, some things just take time.
Some things just take time.
You know, some things are costly, and so we have to come together and get certain resources to put these things in place. And so that blew me away for first grade.
First grade, I was like, oh my goodness. But, you know, I like to let them know who I am.
Yes.
That I work for the district, but then I'm also on the council. And that really always, and then I said, do y'all know what that is, or what city council means? No. So then I have an opportunity to be able to tell them.
That's awesome.
And they get very excited, because now, so you're the one that fixes the streets. Well, I'm not the one that fixes the streets, but yes, we're the ones that will, you know, make sure that things get done, you know, and we're looking out for all those things. So yes.
That's awesome. Yes. Awesome. Shout out to that first grade.
I know, he was great.
Man, that's awesome.
Yes.
For you as an Hispanic woman in leadership, what responsibility do you feel representing your community, your culture? Do you feel a weight? Do you feel a burden? Okay, I am a Hispanic female in this position. What responsibility do you feel in regards to representing your community?
What responsibility do I feel? Just being the advocate.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm an advocate. I'm an advocate for my city. I'm an advocate for my community. I'm an advocate for my culture, my race. Just being an advocate, always, because I am the resource. You know, I am the resource. Other than that, I don't feel any other responsibility, but just to be that advocate, the person that they know that I'm there. If they want, I am there. I will never not be there. I am there. And I want them to know. Yeah. I am there. Yeah. I am an advocate. I will advocate for anyone in any language barrier, you know, I'll just advocate for anyone, but just putting myself out there and knowing that I am here for that purpose. Yeah. Well said. Well, I mean, going back to the first grader, you know, even, you know, a child who's that aware of what's going on, and you taking the time out of your day to explain to them who you are, what you do, and what you represent for the community, it says a lot about you as well. Like you mentioned earlier, some people just have titles, but you know, they don't want to. They don't want to put themselves out there. They don't want to do the work. They don't want to get in the trenches. And so, that says a lot about your character. Yes. As we wrap up, let's shift. As we put a button on the show, you are definitely a family-oriented woman. You've spoken a lot about your husband's support throughout your journey.
How has partnership shaped your success, working, being married?
It's a partnership.
Yes.
Being married is a partnership. Just like he's supportive of me, I'm supportive of him.
Yeah.
He's a very hardworking man, so he's taught me a lot. One thing that I've learned from him is in order to be a leader, you have to be the one in the trenches. You have to be the one in the trenches, or you've had to have been in the trenches. You can't just be a leader and not be in that role or had that role before.
I agree.
He's been fortunate enough to be a superintendent of his construction company now, but he started in the trenches as a laborer.
Wow.
And one thing that he always mentioned to me and why I became a better person and a better leader is because he said to me once, he said, when you work for a company and you work for somebody, right, they have supervisors, foremen, and everybody up above. Well, in construction, it's road construction, so when it rains, you don't work. And he had a family, which was us. And there was times where there was no work. And so at the time, this foreman supervisor, oh, it's raining, let's go. We've had a great week, only 40 hours, we're not doing overtime. My time to get off is at 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
So everybody goes home. He said, if I ever stepped in that role, because I understand what it is to not have a 40-hour paycheck and only have a 10-hour paycheck, if I ever step on that role, I may not come home at 5 o'clock p.m.
Mm.
And he let it know from the beginning. So he was a hardworking man. He would come home at 8, 9 p.m.
Wow.
Because he made sure that even though he was a salary paid person, that his employees, his team, when he knew it was going to be a rainy week the next week, he made sure that week, if they were ever put in overtime, they were going to put in the overtime.
Wow.
So they could make that check in or meet for the next week if they were going to be short.
Wow.
And I always told my husband, but you're missing out at home. He said, but I'm going to tell you something. I know what it is to feel that way.
Mm.
I know what it is to have a 10-hour check. And if I can give that to the people that make me who I am, that is what I'm
That's what we're going to do. Wow.
So he always said, being a leader, it's not about you. It's about what you're going to do for the others.
For the others. I totally agree.
And he taught it from the very beginning when he said, you may not see me at home at 5 p.m., but my job consists of me being a leader and being there for them.
Wow.
And that is what makes me a leader, because I will be there for them. And if I have to pick up a shovel and shovel with them, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Getting in the trenches.
He's getting in the trenches.
Wow.
So he built that, he formatted that in my mind, and I said, that is true. That's why you always have to go 100%.
Yeah.
You have to go in 100%.
Yeah.
You have to be able to do all of that so that you could be this leader.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's why I believe that I can definitely be a leader.
Yeah.
He told me all that. I know I can be a leader because I'm always going to be there.
Yeah.
I will be there. And if I have to pick the shovel up, believe me, I will pick the shovel up. Yes. So yeah, he's been a great supporter.
That's awesome.
I've been a great supporter of him. He had to go to work in Lubbock for a year and a half for this superintendent role. And we've never been away for a faraway job.
Yeah.
And when he talked to me about it, I said, I don't want you to go away. But I knew this was his opportunity. I was not going to sit back and not let it be. Because he's been very supportive. I'm supportive too. And you know what? It is your turn to shine.
Yeah.
After so many years of working very hard, you get this opportunity.
Yeah.
Again, Hispanic, non-language speaking, and working all his way up. It didn't matter how many years it took him, but he's there.
Yeah.
And it is a great honor and pride. And it's a great honor and pride for him.
Wow.
So we're just this partnership. And I think marriage is a partnership. We support each other no matter what.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I've been married for 13 years.
Yes.
Been together for 15. So yes, it's definitely a partnership. Both male, female, husband and wife coming together and working together and pushing one another. So yeah, I definitely agree with that.
For successes, you have to push one another, right?
Yeah.
We've been married 28 years.
Wow.
And and now, we have our son and our daughter who are also now with, relationships and their daughters.
Yeah.
And we try to always instill in them, it's a partnership. It's a partnership. It's a partnership. Key, communication always.
Oh, it's key.
Trust always.
Key.
But communication.
Yeah.
If you can't talk about it, you're going to have a problem. You have to talk about
That's so good.
everything. So communication is key.
Yeah, it's key.
And it's key everywhere.
Yeah.
It's key in your
any
job.
relationship. Yeah.
It's key in a relationship. It's key in everything that you do.
Yeah.
So communication is very important.
I got you. Well, we thank you, Miss
Well, thank
Miriam Davila, for
Thank you.
being on the show today. Such words of wisdom, man. Powerful story, and just sharing who you are. And I definitely learned a lot about you. So I would just say keep doing what you're doing, keep representing your culture, and keep being a servant leader that you are.
Thank you.
Yeah, I
Yes.
love it.
Thank you.
Yes, this is Ordinary Conversations with Extraordinary People. And I can say today we definitely had an extraordinary dialogue
Oh, thank you.
on today. We will see you guys next time around. Peace.
Thank you.